Good morning, everyone. It's Dave coming to you live on a Monday morning, February 15th. Hope everyone had a great Valentine's Day. Wanted to quickly go over a trade I made last Friday around 10 o'clock in the morning. It was a volume spike trade, and as you know, I've been working on this, trying to hone my skills on the demo. So this is only demo. I'm not looking to make a ton of money here yet until I have this down, but I wanted to make sure at least I recorded something so people have an idea of what's going on. This is a screen capture of the Euro FX futures from Friday the 12th around 10 o'clock in the morning, give or take. I did a screen capture because I wanted to at least record the fact that I was making the trade legitimately, but didn't have time to do the video then, so I hope you bear with me and can respect the fact that I just didn't have the time to make it then, but am trying to do it now. So what you'll see is the 5-minute chart and a big spike right here. Relative to the other volume that's been going on. And of course that corresponds with this big candle here. And then the idea is to wait for a pullback to some level, in this case this pink line that I've made, and then go long from there to some target. As you'll see, I did draw a Fibonacci once I saw the spike to the whole swing, and to give me an idea of where I might want to enter. Here's the 382, here's the 50. Ironically, this arrow has nothing to do with anything. It's a 510 EMA cross that just happens to be right about where I entered, but it's a good way to show where it was that I entered. When you look at the 15-minute chart, this is another screen capture, you'll see that it's even more obvious. Here's that spike again, of course the corresponding candle. The fib, you'll see the study there, and then you'll see that on the 15 it's less choppy, and you'll see that pullback here, the nice hammer here, with a good place to go long, which is simply a line that I drew from the most recent swing high over here. So I did a limit order. I said, hey, if it gets back to this level, get me in, and get me in long. It's very low drawdown, if any. I'd be below the 21 if it went back on me. And then I just was shooting for some target. I drew the fibs in up here. These are the extensions. But then I went over to MetaTrader, which is what I actually trade off. So you have to bear with me for just a second. And what you'll end up seeing here is the same area, but what I didn't notice at first was that this trend line is a pretty hefty trend line, this big yellow one. And it actually, this is the area we're talking about here, it was probably going to act as some good resistance, so I figured that would probably be a pretty good target. So when I bring this back to the 5-minute chart and actually find where we were, which is over here in just a second, you'll see that when we enter long, we still have plenty of room for a pretty good money management trade. You'll see that this is the long candle that had that spike in volume. Here's the peak, and actually you can see it peaked right around the trend line. And here's my line that I drew. If you remember, we drew it over on the FX futures, the same line, right around the same level of 136-ish. And here it is again, and I simply said, okay, if it gets back to here, I want to head long. And I'm going to use the trend line as the target. So when you draw this out, if I'm long somewhere in here, we have a 10 or 15 pip drawdown with a 20 to 30 pip target. That still fits in pretty well, but what it doesn't do is get me anywhere near those fib targets that we talked about before. I'm bouncing around and I apologize. Here they are. Those fib targets are all up too high, so I'm not going to shoot for those. But it's okay because it still works out. When you look at how it actually looks on the actual chart, this is a live chart of TOS, and this is what I would have been looking at. So if we just go tick by tick, or candle by candle, you'll see that the setup is here. Here's the spike over on the far right. I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and I'm saying, wow, okay, there's some good volume there. I'm thinking that there's going to be some buying, so I'm going to draw this line in. I'm going to zoom out and make sure that I get my trend line set up in there at the top to make sure that there's nothing that's in the way of resistance or what have you. And also that there's no news going on, which we confirmed. And indeed, I got filled right around here at 36.10-ish. And we went up, and look at what happened. We hit the trend line, we hit a target, and I got out. I basically scaled out of this trade, and I wasn't sure if it was going to break the trend line or not, so I wanted to stay in a little bit. And you'll see that when I show you the couple of other charts I had, you'll see that these trend lines are simply representing the actual trades that I took. It's a special indie that I have that prints the trades on the screen. And then down here at 12:12, 17:06 a.m., you'll see, well, 17:06 GMT, you'll see that the trades indeed were there, and I scaled out of them for some profit. So I just didn't want people to think that I'm just making this up or anything like that. In fact, if you want me to get even farther, I'll show you this indie. It's simply an indie that I've used for quite a while to give me an idea of what the trade looked like when it was done. It's called Order History version 2. I drag it over on the chart, and you're going to see this populate really quickly with all of the trades that I've made, including some notations and arrows, etc. So there they all are, and what you're seeing here are all the trades, including ones I've made after this set of trades that what we've been talking about. This is the area that we're talking about here. These 4 scale-out trades all entered in at the same time. You'll see that I'm in here at 136.10. And we scaled out at a number of different levels, 136, 32, 35, 27. So all in all, very good trade. Very happy with it. Set a target of that trend line. Let me go back to that chart that doesn't have all of this junk in it for you, and that would be here. I just cleaned it all up, and what we're left with is a zoomed-in view of. Here's the candle, here's the top trend line, back down to some level that I think PA could get to before it actually turns around again on that volume spike. Indeed, it was from this swing high there. It filled, it went up to the trend line again, and I got out. That was it. It was nice, pretty, very well executed, if I say so myself. I'm happy with it. I'm pretty sure I'm reading it well. And for the most part, I've been pretty happy so far with my results on using this type of trading. Again, this is the last thing I'll leave you with. This is the chart, again, just to show you the spike on the candle on the 15-minute on the actual Euro FX futures, and the touch of the trend line, the return to some level, and then going long for some target. And that's it. It went well. I hope everyone does well this week. Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.